Okay, okay.
Patricia. Good evening, everyone. Don't you just love having school kids here? Right away, they quiet down. As a former principal, I thank you. Could we please have Pastor Dean Nelson come forward for the opening prayer? Please stand.
Let us pray. Pray, Heavenly Father, that you guide the people of Los Banos, our council members and our mayor and all who work for the city. Guide us so that we might be strengthened to build up one another, providing opportunities for people to work and serve and thrive. During the season of Thanksgiving, give us wisdom to be thankful in all circumstances. Thank you for all people who are willing to run and to serve in the various offices of our city and of our county. Thank you for those who strive to be faithful and effective in their participation and work in our city. Pray, Heavenly Father, you give us also wisdom to realize your presence in our lives, your presence, your power, your love, your grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Could I please have at this time the commander of the American Legion Post 166 and VFW Post 2487, Alan Cotta and Mike Hughes, lead us in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order of the November 7th, 2018 City Council meeting. And Director Maloney, can I have roll call, please?
Faria. Here. Johnson Santos. Here. Lewis. Here. Silvera. Villalta.
Here, we do have a quorum. Consideration of approval of agenda. Do I have a motion? Mr. Freya.
I'll move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Mrs. Santos.
Second.
Motion by Faria, second by Santos to approve the agenda as stated. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? None carried. Presentations. Recognition of entry awards from the VFW Post 2487 and American Legion Post 166 Veterans Day Parade. All right. Could I please have the American Legion and VFW Post members that are present tonight please come up? And one of the two commanders, would you please introduce the chairman for me? This year's parade.
The chairman of this year's Veterans Parade, Patricia McCoy. She was a member of the Air Force and was in Alaska, and she's done just a great job with our Veterans Parade.
So I want to thank everybody that came out to the Veterans Parade, all the participants, all the schools. This year's theme was the salute to the Army. I was getting there. Air Force Army. Salute to the Army. I just want to take a second to thank the City of Los Banos for all of their assistance, especially the police department with putting up the barricades, last minute things, and the city manager as well. There's a lot of moving parts that go into this parade, and everybody, it's a team. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You're looking at the moving parts right here. Before we present the awards, Commanders, with your permission, I would like to read a proclamation recognizing Veterans Day. Okay. Whereas America was founded on the principles of liberty, opportunity, and justice for all, Veterans Day is a day in which we recognize the men and women of the armed forces who have valiantly defended our country's values throughout this nation's history. By answering the call of duty and risking their lives to protect their fellow countrymen, these patriots have inspired us with their courage, compassion, and dedication. Universal recognition is given to the celebrating the end of World War I, fighting at 11 a.m. on November 11th, 2018, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Whereas, therefore, are currently more than 25 million living American veterans, many of whom have put their lives on the line to preserve our freedoms. Our proud veterans have given our country an extraordinary legacy in patriotism and honor, and their service represents the highest form of citizenship. In honor of all the proud veterans, the ones that are here today and the ones that have gone before, we invite our community to give a moment of silence in respect and thank you on November 11th, 2018. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the mayor and the city council members of the city of Los Banos do hereby celebrate the day of November 11th, 2018 as Veterans Day, and encourage all citizens to give thought to the history, valor, and sacrifice of the veterans through appropriate ceremonies and prayers. Thank you so much, gentlemen and ladies, for your service. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn the mic over to Commander Hughes, who will now make the presentations of the parades.
Patricia. Well, I get to hand them to him. Okay. Patricia gets to announce them.
All right. So this year we had Henry Miller Elementary. We had 9 elementary schools participate in the contest and the parade. And the winner is Henry Miller Elementary School. So come on up.
Anyone else present from Henry Miller? Come on up. Come on up.
I don't want to know my age.
Very cool.
Take screenshots from
You know, I just want to say one thing. It was our goal to get young people involved in our Veterans Day parades and everything else. And you can see today, we have succeeded this year. We had 9 schools involved, and the quality of all of the entries from the school were unbelievably great. So the judges had a heck of a time to pick who the winners were.
I just wanted to say thank you to the veterans for giving us the opportunity to honor them. And, you know, I'm the principal, so I get to get up here and speak, but I didn't have anything to do with this other than provide my parents a space to build a float. So thank you, parents and students, for doing this for Hinder Mill Elementary School. And thank you, veterans. And I'll see you guys Friday.
There you go. You get to take it home.
Oh, my goodness.
Don't drop it.
Okay, you got it.
Come on.
That's what I thought. All right, next up, we have 2 junior highs in Los Banos, and guess what? They both participated. So the winner this year is Los Banos Junior High. So do we have anyone here from the junior high? Come on down. Yeah, yeah. I wanted them to be like, hey. Come on, fill it in. This way, you guys have to get photo ops. Come on. So, want to say congratulations. Congratulations, Los Banos Junior High. Amazing. And thank you for your participation. And heads up, it's already on Facebook, but next year's theme is Salute to the Marines, so you can start thinking. So, look that way too. So, yeah, that's what I was spotlighting.
I also want to take this opportunity to thank the veterans. We truly do appreciate that you put on the parade and allow our schools to participate. I want to sincerely thank our student ambassadors, but Ms. Baker and Ms. Norris, for all the work that they put into building the float. So thank you, and thank you for representing Los Banos Junior High. We're proud that we won it 2 years in a row.
Already got a space for it.
Are you good with them? You got it? You got it? Okay. Yes, it is. Okay, and high school. Sorry. And last but not least, we have 2 high schools in Los Banos, and this year both high schools participated. Another year, third year, Pacheco High School has won, so come on down. We're very excited that you guys won. You had an amazing float.
I'm not the principal for Pacheco High School, but I am the representative tonight. Up here is some of the girls on Pacheco Girls Golf. As I said, it's our 3rd year in a row that we are proud to put this up on our wall. It has an empty spot right now, so we know exactly where it's going. We're going to try and make sure that we keep that tradition alive, so we know we have to step up our game for next year already. We'd also like to thank all our parents and Ken and Kaylin Lambert for helping us every year with the float, making sure that we have a vehicle that we're able to decorate and celebrate our veterans with.
She remembers.
Again, Mayor, I want to thank you, and we want to thank the city again, because without the city, we couldn't do this. And as you see, we really get a lot of young people, and that was our original goal. So thank you for helping us.
There wouldn't be a Veterans Parade, and you wouldn't need our help without all the cooperation of the VFW and American Legion for what you've done. So you're the catalyst. You start this, and every year it's grown, and thank you. Okay. Thank you. And thank you to all the students, the teachers, the administrators. It makes a school, the whole school, for this to work, and you can see the cooperation and how proud they are to have that flag for 1 year. The large flag moves from year to year depending upon the winner in the elementary, the secondary, and the high school. So there's kind of a fierce competition for them to maintain ownership of that flag. So very nice. Okay, let's go on to next presentation. And if I could have Economic Development Director Stacey Elms come forward, please. And this is recognition of the ACE 10 participants. And Stacey's going to give us a little background on what ACE 10 is.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. While our mayor was advocating for the city of Las Banos in Washington, D.C., we were presented with a unique opportunity to host and welcome a select group of foreign ambassadors to the 10th America's Competitiveness Exchange on Innovation and Entrepreneurship, ACE 10. This event was held on Wednesday, October 24th, and we were given the opportunity to showcase Las Banos as a destination that is helping to move the Silicon Valley's innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem success across the state, and to explore potential partnerships with universities, private sector partners, state and local governments, and nonprofits. The ACE 10 delegates, which were from South America and all the way from Mexico down to Brazil, we had representatives also from Finland, Germany, and Israel. Canada was also represented. Just you name it, those folks were there, very excited to be in our community. And those delegates were given a firsthand look at one of the largest agricultural regions on earth when they stopped in Las Banos on their way to Fresno. So all of our participants are going to be recognized tonight. There was lots of folks that made this happen, and I'll let the mayor recognize them.
Okay. Don't leave.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to show our.
Oh, here.
I forgot to. So the city of Las Banos was given a certificate of recognition. So this is not only the city of Las Banos, but our community as a whole. We were given a recognition from the federal government as a participant of the America's Competitiveness Exchange, which is for our outstanding work strengthening collaboration among countries of the Americas and beyond, and sharing best practices during the 10th America's Competitiveness Exchange.
This whole journey started about 3,000 miles away in September. I was in the Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C., and a few people were talking, and they mentioned this group called Ace 10, that they were going to tour the valley. So all of a sudden, I just kind of blended into the conversation, and they were talking about where should they stop and what could they showcase in California. And so right away, I couldn't dial fast enough, and I called Alex and called Stacy and told them there was this opportunity, and all these different cities were vying for these individuals to visit them, but they only had a limited amount of time, and they only had one extra stop, and Los Banos was able to secure that stop. So Los Banos now is known through all of South America, and the individuals who stopped here said they had never been greeted with such a homey feel, because usually they visit an Amazon or they visit a large factory, but they've never had kind of a down-home food and down-home recognition with the individuals that we're going to present certificates to tonight. So, but that happened through cooperation. Stacy and the people that we're going to recognize just set this up. The city went all out, and I can't thank you enough, because, you know, you stick your neck out and you say Los Banos is great. Well, you made it that way. Thank you. Okay, so with that, I am going to call out the names of the individuals, and Stacy, would you please honor them by presenting a certificate to them? Okay, the first one that we're going to present is the Los Banos High School Marching Band. Do we have a representative? Oh, stay here. We'll get everyone, and then we'll take a picture here. Okay, and the next one is the Los Banos High School FFA. Los Banos High School TAP program. We know what FFA is, so tell us about the TAP program.
TAP is Transition to Adulthood program. It's for special needs 18 to 22-year-old students, and we teach them life skills. We run a cafe out of our classroom. We sell coffee and all kinds of things to the teachers and the kids.
All the food?
We brought the food, not all the food, not all the food. We had a table.
And you exchanged recipes with Brazil?
Yes, and he's the president of, I can't remember the company, but I've emailed him. He hasn't answered me back yet. He's sending me Brazilian cheese bread.
Excellent food. Thank you. Pacheco High School Culinary Arts. Okay, who's going to explain about culinary arts?
So culinary arts is basically like a club that allows us to go and cater to like different places and get to like learn more about the food service industry. And I'm the vice president. And yeah, we got to do a lot with the Act 10 event, and we got to experience a lot.
And you had good-sized plates, so I didn't have to go back twice. Okay. Next is Cotton Tree Ranch. Okay.
But they donated, they provided pumpkins, cotton, it was wine barrels, lots of the decorations for us, really made us present our ag industry. So without the help of Cotton Tree Ranch, we wouldn't have been as successful.
Thank you. And future farmers, what was your expertise, or how did you feel when you visited with these individuals? Were they nice people? Did you impart some ideas to them?
Well, they had a lot of questions about what FFA was. They had a lot of them really had no idea what we were. So we explained that we were a club that was in the classroom, and just that we all shared a common passion for agriculture, and they found that really interesting.
Fantastic. And band, did you interact with them at all?
Actually, I have a student that did. You want to come down here, Fernando? He was able to talk to somebody. You want to just talk about what you talked about?
So I met Miss Lewins from Jamaica. If I remember correctly, it was like a lot at one moment, but she is the food administrator of the country of Jamaica. And she had a lot of questions about what I wanted to do after high school and what I do in the community, with marching band being the main one. And how I was going to bring my future career back to the community to help it develop into a more sustainable and inspiring place to be.
Okay, they're not present this evening, but Ian J. Gallo was also present at the function and provided some adult beverages for. So we thank Ian J. Gallo. And this next lady, I just have to tell you what. Well, you tell her. You talk about the Country Duck.
So Penny Glick from the Country Duck essentially opened her store and just said, whatever you guys need. Sandra Benetti and I came at the 11th hour and said, hey, Penny, we're doing this event and we think that you may have some decorations that we can use, and this is what's going on. And she just opened her doors and said, whatever you need, you guys, you're welcome to it. So much appreciated.
Okay. Next one would be Hostetler Ranches. No representative? Okay.
They provided almonds, raisins, and pistachios for tasting for the delegates.
Fantastic. Okay. Bowles Farming. Do we have someone here? Okay. You want to describe what?
Derek Azevedo was our keynote speaker. He spoke about the importance of agriculture in our community, spoke about Bowles Farming and their history all the way from Henry Miller in our community, and sustainable farming as well.
Okay.
Leanne Santos.
Oh. Okay. Okay. So then we have Toscano RV and Charleston Elementary, Leanne Santos. Is she here this evening? Yeah. Okay. And they provided?
They provided pumpkins from their pumpkin patch as well as hay bales.
Our next one is Gilardi Farms. Boy, okay. That's it. We'll get these certificates to them. And they did?
They provided cotton to have the cotton industry represented.
Okay. Our next one is Kagome. Okay. We have someone from Kagome? Hi, do you want to tell us a little bit about Kagome?
So when we were there, we spoke about our different salsas and barbecue sauces and products that we produce at the plant here in Los Banos. And a lot of the delegates that were there were surprised to see what we do here, right here in Los Banos. And so the agricultural part of it is we take tomatoes and we make sauces and salsas out of it.
Thank you so much. And their contribution, did they have a booth or a display?
Yes, they had a display, and as Vanessa spoke, they had some products on display and were able to mingle with the delegates and explain their industry.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's go on to Morningstar.
And Morningstar also had a display.
Sure, yes, we had a display and we talked about tomatoes. Right? Nobody does it bigger. Morningstar is the world's leading processor of tomato paste and products, and we do business with a lot of these countries already. And it was great to touch base with all of them that attended. So it was a great event. Good job.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, next one would be Paradise Kitchen Bobby, come on up.
So Paradise Kitchen also had a display next to Morning Star, their sister company, and I'll let Bobby explain.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, we also were there with the Morningstar group, and we were representing the new facets of tomato containers, trying to get people out of the cans and getting away from the metal cans and going into pouches. It's the new way of packaging tomato products. How many here eat pizza? I think everybody loves pizza. Well, our plant, we do everything from Little Caesars pizza sauce to Pizza Hut to Papa Murphy's to Domino's. You name it, we do it. And we supply the West Coast with all the tomato, the pizza sauces. Morningstar supplies us with the paste, and we do the pizza sauce with what they send us. Okay? We've been in town since 2011, based out of Kentucky.
Thanks, Bobby.
Okay.
And the next representative was Jess Smith and Sons, and Stacy will tell you a little bit about them.
Jess Smith and Sons is a cotton gin out of Dos Palace, but they service the entire Central Valley, all the way from Bakersfield up north. Las Vegas, we're in their region. I don't see a representative here tonight, but they also had free giveaways as well as a display.
Thank you. Next one is Merced College, Las Vegas campus.
Dr. Latham had a booth there, just explained about what Merced College is doing in agricultural science, and spoke a lot to the delegates about what we are doing in the Central Valley.
Thank you. These next three presentations, very important to the success of this endeavor, and so I'll have Stacy talk about them a little bit as soon as I announce the names. And the first one, we please come forward, is Sandra Benetti.
So Sandra is my planning technician. Not to get emotional, but these folks, I definitely wouldn't have been able to do there. It was, lots of hard work going into this and lots of preparing and coordinating. And this was, as we were explained from the federal government, a once in a lifetime opportunity. So thank you.
And the next presentation goes to Jaylene DeMilo? Sure. Okay.
Thank you, Jolene. Jolene is from the Public Works Department. Thank you, Mark, for letting us borrow Jolene. She helped us with all the personalization and the cricketing and vinyl lettering that took a lot of hard work. Thank you, Jolene.
And the last presentation is to Brenda Gary. Is Brenda here? Okay. So tell us a little bit about her.
Brenda is the police service manager for the police station, and thank you to our police chief, Gary Breezy, for letting us borrow Brenda. She baked cupcakes for the delegates and also for the students and all the participants that were there. They were a pumpkin spice cupcake, a brown butter pumpkin cupcake, which was delicious, and she helped us decorate and put a lot of effort into this, so thank you.
And I'll echo, the cupcakes were good. So thank you all for your presentations. Thank you all for your presence. And if this ever comes up again, I can tell you that Las Banos would be a place that these individuals would want to visit based on your presence and what you did to make it a success. So thank you all. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Any comments from council members? I might have, Mrs. Lewis, did you want to make a comment on anything? I saw your light blinking. Oh, okay. All right, thank you. All right, let's go on to item 6, public forum. Members of the public may address the city council members on any item of public interest is within the jurisdiction of the city council, which includes agenda and non-agenda items. No action will be taken on non-agenda items, and speakers are limited to a 5-minute presentation. Detailed guidelines are posted on the council chamber informational table. When you approach the podium, please state your name and city of residence, and if you have a cell phone, please place them on vibrate or turn them off. Is there anyone who would like to speak at the public forum?
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and member and staff, and residents in the community of Los Banos. I am Major Jennifer Cortez from Salvation Army. Nice to see you. And I just come to tell you that it's time for us to ring the bells. And I would like to, everyone to be part of the this fundraising that we have every year. As you know, the Salvation Army have, the mayor, the majority people coming to the food bank and all the programs that we have. So this time, I just challenge you to come and help us, to ring the bell. December 8th, we're going to have, the $20 challenger. If we collect $20 and every 5 seconds or 1 hour, the divisional headquarters, they're going to double up, the money. So I would like to to challenge yourself to come and help us that day. That you can come to register. We have online registration, or you can come see Margie. And, I just appreciate, what Los Banos, is doing for the community. And we have a lot of things, to offer, in the community. So we have another.
I would like to tell you.
Go ahead and step up to the microphone.
I just
Thank
want to
you.
remind you that the money that's raised here in Los Banos for the bell ringing stays right here within your community. And a lot of people are served because of the services that we provide. And I too would like to challenge all of you to come out, enjoy the fun in ringing the bell, and make a difference in people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I teased Mr. Villada because he was my 6th grade teacher. I've been in Los Banos for 50 years. My family built the dam. Right now, as of today, I'm homeless. I'm homeless because I don't really want to say it around a bunch of children, but I was raped a few blocks away from here by 4 men. Was held captive for 1 week's time and drugged. So now I did all of the female doctor did all the surgeries, and now the person that was taking care of me, which happens to be related to Mr. Villada, has kicked me out of the house. So basically, I have a storage, which I have to pay, and I'm on the streets. 22 years ago, I was on the streets because of a divorce. I was living in my car. My car is on the ranch where I was at in Dawes Palace. So I would like to know what you're going to do about a woman that does not drink, doesn't do drugs, has been a missionary now for a year, and I don't have an office. My office is on that walk path. It's called Anchor of God, Lighthouse Project, God's Work for 20 years, and for 1 year now at the kitchen table. I go to any kitchen table at any house, any convalescent, any hospital bed, anybody's house with a TV tray, anywhere, and I pray with them. So this is my idea, and Mr. Bellata says I can't buy any property or get any grants unless I tell you what I'm going to do. So tiny houses are going to be built in this town, and I was asked not to do it by the Door Factory because there is a convalescent nearby, and there is a hospital nearby, and it'll make a lot of noise. So I found 2 properties on Henry Miller Road, one for women, one for men. Found very many properties here on Mercy Springs Road and 152 to put tiny houses. I have asked the gentleman that's in charge of building. He said, could you take the tiny houses and take the wells and dismantle them, the ones that want to stay here in Los Banos? So I have families that are in hotels and above the bars that want to take 2 of the tiny houses, put them together, and make 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, take the 1 kitchen, and make 2 living rooms. I have clients in that bag right there. They've done that. I've got 200 homeless from the 4 Bay to Ward Road that want the tiny houses, and they're willing to build them. Merced College is willing to build the frames of the tiny houses over there by mental health. I'm not mental. I am dyslexic. I have lupus. I have no business being on the streets. You do not have no program whatsoever here except for a cooling and a warming center. So you explain to me today with through your heart what you're going to do for somebody that is disabled with that walker, dyslexic, and needs to go back to school because she wants to be a teacher for learning disabled children because she's dyslexic. I want to be a sex therapist because I was raped as a child by my stepdad, and I was raped by these 4 men. Now tell me, I'd like to know today by Mr. Breezy, when I was hostage for 1 week's time, 1 block from the police department, and now I'm homeless because they had drugs in my garage. And they want that house to be a drug house. This is what my idea is. You take Lane Corey's house and you make it a place that people can go for help. Like you did a long time ago over there by the hospital. Because the homeless came there and they did 23 loads of laundry while I'm in Merced at my doctor's that I didn't know they were doing. So my electricity bill went over $350 a month, which I can afford. And James died, so I didn't have no one to help me pay the rent. One of them came to my house, and the guy that I was dating asked him for money to date me. I am no stinking hooker. And I want to know, Mr. Bellata, you're my 6th grade teacher, and you know I'm not all of these things. What you're going to do for me tonight.
Okay. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak at the public forum?
I'm Elaine Corey from Las Banos, and I'd like to speak about the downtown revitalization. And this comes as no surprise because I already told Alex to his face on the 30th of October that I thought he and Stacy were very unethical when they leaked the names of the people that turned in no votes on the downtown project. And when you, Michael, called that particular person, you know who, to twist their arm to change their mind, and when that didn't work, you sent Mr. Tom Calgin to talk to him, to threaten to pull his business, which is bribery. And when that didn't work, you sent Sharon to visit him, which still didn't work, which I think is despicable and unethical.
I think your comments are despicable and unethical. I'll just say that for the record.
That's fine. That's what this is all about, is for the record.
Yes.
Because I don't think that was fair to leak the no names.
And I didn't do that.
Well, you didn't, but either Alex or Stacy did, because they were the two.
No. Your comments were that I did it. Now you're saying something
My
else.
comment was that you called him. You want me to name who you called?
Go ahead and talk. Just go ahead and talk if you want to talk. Go ahead.
Okay. And then Sharon and Stacy also visited the other no votes. And I just don't think that's the way the city should be acting, is this thing. And I was also advised that somebody wanted to turn in a no vote, and they were advised they needed to come back and turn that no vote into Stacy so she could try and persuade them to change their mind, which the city was supposed to be impartial in this. So you shouldn't be taking sides. And if you release the no votes, why can't you release the yes votes or the no responses? And really, all we've asked for from the beginning is that they be upfront, tell us exactly what they're planning to do, and put it out in black and white with some figures. And the only figures we got on the November 1st meeting was a budget that was penciled in on copies of the Turlock bid. And they said just what I said they would, that most of the money is going for administrative fees. There's not any real money to do any improvements downtown. And that is my position on this. And I told Alex that I intend to bother you on this every council meeting.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak at the public forum?
Members of this table, accessors, public, my name is Nilson Gomes Filho. I fight in this last election against procedure Mr. Mike Villalta and couple take action during their mandates or contractors. I just like to recall, Mr. Mayor, 8 years ago, when some place in our city is still available to be transformed in education. And you, Mr. Mayor, ask me just one question. If I just make comment with someone. I recall clear. I wrote 2 letters, no answer. And I swear in my communication, I will make myself objective to interrupt you and in the same time, who still try to help you. Ma'am, you're right, 100% right. Because just to recall, a mayor in one election pretend a good mayor to be a leader of a municipal government. When he react, I strong mayor. This is for you, Mr. Mike Villalta. In condition of chief executive, you hold responsibility, can immediately with your position can stop positions the ladies just came through this microphone and claim one claim for her health and her circumstances, and the other one try to fight in favor of our city and your domination propose in connection with Mr. Alex Terrazas. Just, I like to tell you.
I'm sorry, your 5 minutes is up. You know, your 5 minutes is up. Your 5 minutes is up.
By the order.
Officer, would you take care of this, please? Yes, sir. All right. We're going to take a 5-minute recess.
By the order.
Okay, we're going to resume the meeting. Yeah. We're still on item 6, public forum. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak at the public forum?
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak. And my name is Aldina Maciel, and I'm a real estate broker. We have an office at 249 West Pacheco. We've been there since 2005. And we have this wonderful children program that we do every Christmas called the Golden Ticket, and we're going to tell you about it. And it's all free toys for the children. You've been there last year, Alex. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak on it. And this is Fatima. She's going to tell you all about it.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Fatima Lima. I'm a realtor with Aldina Real Estate here in Los Banos. I also live here in Los Banos. We've been doing this Golden Ticket since 2006, and it's free to the community. We give away toys. Santa comes and visits with the kids. We have stocking decorations. We have usually the emergency first responders there to speak with the kids and interact with them. So it's a fun night for everyone. This year, it's on the 14th of December, and it's going to be held at the DES Hall at 1155 West I Street. And we'll have food, games, and just toys galore.
And the reason we call this is the Golden Ticket is a little bit of mystery for the kids. They come in and they sign up and they get a ticket and it goes into a drawing. And then this begins with different age groups. We have 0 to 5 years old and 5 to 8 and then 8 to 12 and all the way up to 18 years old. And we have different gifts for everybody. And we appreciate any volunteerism. Anybody that would like to volunteer, we welcome that. We also welcome all the toys we can get for the kids. We just ask it to be new. And you're all welcome to come. Please come and pass the word on.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
And this is your flyer here? Yes. Okay, thank you. Did you give one to the city clerk? No, but I will. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak at the public forum?
Thank you. My name is Penny Glick, and I reside in Los Banos, and I also own the Country Duck in downtown Los Banos. So there's a couple of things that are going to be happening this month. Small Business Saturday was started a few years ago by American Express, and it wanted to honor all the small businesses. Instead of Black Friday, we have Small Business Saturdays for all the brick and mortars, like our stores downtown. A lot of them will be participating that day with different promotions and events. It's an important day to support, but it's also important to support our downtown throughout the year. Our downtown actually consists of, and not Pacheco Boulevard, but it is 8th Street up to Pacheco Boulevard. 7th Street to 4th Street is technically downtown district. A lot of people that even Los Banos folks think that Pacheco Boulevard is downtown, but it's not. So I welcome everyone to come down and check us out. We've got a lot of interesting shops, businesses down there to see. The other thing that will be coming up, and we did change it this year because we have kind of an extra Friday in November. And I know there's a lot of people that do travel out of town and come back and live here or work later. So this year, a Christmas evening downtown is going to be on November 30th. It's a Friday night. So it gives those people that stay over in the Bay Area and come back a chance to come down and visit downtown. A lot of the stores will be opened. We serve refreshments. It's a great time just to come and share that hometown feeling with your friends. You're going to meet new friends, just to enjoy the evening. And this year we're going to have a raffle, and the proceeds from our raffle will be shared with the Los Banos Downtown Association, which I am a member, and Cops for Kids this year. We've chose them to partner with the splitting of the funds. So come on out. Raffle tickets are $1 each, or 6 for $5. So it's going to be a nice evening.
So what are the times, Penny?
It'll be 5 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's November 30th on the downtown.
Yes, yes. So.
All right.
Then the other thing that's on a personal item, I would like to welcome everybody, and I don't know if a lot of people know that I am also the teddy bear house at Christmas time. That's what it's been called for many years. This is our family's 46th year of decorating for Christmas. So it started out on an acre property. My dad started at Carl Painter in 1972 out on Sunset Avenue. Our house is no longer there. The gravel pit took the gravel, so it's probably in somebody's driveway at this point. And then it moved to Skylark for many years until we got our house and moved my mom. So we've been doing it at 698 Plum Court since 2005. So we want to welcome everybody to come by. Our lighting will be, it's always Thanksgiving night. We'll have it lit. And we usually have it on from about 5 to 11 o'clock at night. So get out, get your kids out. It's a place that you can't just drive by. You have to get out and walk and see all the little things. So next week I won't be at work. I'll be doing that project. So I want to thank the city. I want to thank Stacy and everybody else that has helped with the revitalization program. I am one that is actually for it. I grew up in this town. I would like to see it being revamped. I would like to see more businesses come downtown, and I'd like to see more people come downtown. Right now, through one of the projects, Tom Calgin is actually redoing his building. He's getting it painted and new awnings. So we're cleaning up our town, which is a good thing, even though we have people that come in from other areas and say, we have such a nice down.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you after the 5 minutes. Yeah, thank you. And I also believe in the P-bid. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak at the public forum? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the public forum, and we will go on to item 7, consideration of approval of consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and be voted on in one motion unless removed from the consent agenda by a city council member. And tonight we have
items on the consent agenda are as follows. Warrant numbers 213032 through 213348 in the amount of $1,628,470.72. First quarter investment report for fiscal year 2018-2019. Minutes for the October 17th, 2018 City Council meeting. And the items are to be approved as submitted.
Is there any city council member who would like to remove an item for discussion? Do I have a motion? Mrs. Santos?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
Okay, do I have a second? Mr. Freya?
I'll second that motion.
Motioned by Santos, second by Freya to approve the consent agenda as stated. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Let's go on to item 8, Boys and Girls Club presentation. Steering Committee member Chuck Areka and Public Works Director and City Engineer Fachin. Okay, Mr. Fachin, do you want to introduce?
No,
Go ahead, Chuck. Yeah, this is Chuck. He's a part of the Boys and Girls Club Steering Committee, and tonight he would like to give a presentation on the summer program, a review of it. Thanks, Chuck.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Chuck, am I turning on the PC or the laptop?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be a PowerPoint presentation on it.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Good.
There we go. Okay, there it is. Hello, my name is Chuck Oreca. I'm a volunteer representative for the Los Banos Boys and Girls Club and steering committee member. I want to thank the mayor, the city manager, the city council, men and women, for giving us the opportunity to speak here tonight and to follow up with you regarding the progress and feedback from the 2017 Boys and Girls Summer Pilot Program. You all have helped answer many citizens of Los Banos' prayers, I believe, through Jesus Christ for a safe and positive place for kids to go and learn and have fun over the summer, and also which helped fill the gap of learning loss over the summer that tends to happen often for the kids during this time. The successful pilot program is a foundation that we've been trying to use to help drive for an after-school program for all year for our city. I also want to mention that I'm very proud of my city government. My grandpa, Chuck, also was mayor here from 1944 to 1961. And in talking to some of the old timers that knew my grandpa, most of them told me that when my grandpa was mayor, him and the city council that he served with that at that time were known for getting things done. And I believe this city council is very similar in that respects, that all of you continue to be very proactive in helping to bring to our town organizations that enrich our community, and in the future, I believe, will be remembered as our city government that was successful at getting things done. And for all of us here in the community that we love. And that includes youth services, welcoming to them coming to our town, the downtown revitalization project, and there's others too that I can list. I also want to say that I'm honored and excited to be here tonight to share in the fruit of our labor, to give a follow-up presentation for the Boys and Girls Club Summer Program of 2017. Michael Pierrick, our Merced County Director, is here, and he created this PowerPoint presentation I'll be giving tonight, and I think he did a great job with it. The presentation will show feedback and testimonies derived from a questionnaire that was originated from a third-party online platform that was delivered by email to parents whose children participated in our summer program in 2017. This survey was provided so that parents and their children had an opportunity to express how they felt about the program. The presentation will also share participation stats, and last but definitely not least, we'll also share about the future goals of the Los Banos Boys and Girls Club in partnership with the City of Los Banos. And that includes city leaders, school district leaders, volunteer citizen leaders, definitely have a heart for trying to help the kids in our community. I will now give a PowerPoint presentation, and please feel free to ask questions you may have after the presentation is concluded, of course. If there are questions that I can't answer, then I will refer you to Michael Pierrick, and we will do our best to find the information that you may need. The Los Banos Summer Program, our drive for a year-round club. Here are some basics for how long, how much, where, how much is for the cost also. We have a 9-week summer program that we had. It was available 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. It was $75 per child per week, and it was held at the Los Banos Community Center. $12,500 was contributed by the City of Los Banos, and I thank you, Mayor, City Manager, City Council of Los Banos, for your support and your generosity in helping the kids in our community. Okay, here we have some stats that show participation in regards to age, gender, special needs, and average general attendance. So see on the top here, we have 40% of those with special needs receive financial support of 80% or more. The age report there, 75 of the participants were 6 to 9 years old, and then 37 were 10 to 12 years old, and then you have 5 that were 13 to 18 years old. 32 was the average daily attendance for kids per day. Total 117 active memberships, and that was throughout the summer program for the total there. Gender breakdown is pretty even, 47% female, or 48%, or yeah, 47% female, and then about 53% male. The Boys and Girls Club delivered on what they said they could offer the kids in our community. This included field trips to Bowles Farming, Merced Club, Boys and Girls Club, Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Also the club helped feed the hungry kids. The kids were fed 4 times per day, and that was 3 meals and 1 snack. And the Boys and Girls Club, they provided fun, safe, and positive interactions with staff and mentors. As with any pilot program, there were challenges and solutions. So some of those were security. So secure and safe process of checking into facility and out of facility, possibly a badge or check-in sheet, and adopt mutual crisis management plan would be some solutions to improve the security there. Operating space, the occasional closure of occupancy of the vital parts of the community center that limited access to camp kids, typically different with after-school programs. And this possible solution would be work with community center staff to help plan for the use of alternate areas of the Merced or the community center if original vital parts are not available. Community exposure, that was another challenge there. Financial resources were a burden due to large commute to most attractions for youth plus entry fee. Possible solution there to partner with local businesses and agencies to engage youth in shops, factories, etc. for possible sponsorships, and then also to make sure that these costs are accounted for in our next year's budget for the summer program or after-school program. So here we'll show you stats from parent feedback. Okay, and here's potential areas of improvement, and which the first one here, which is 55.6%, say their questions and concerns were addressed. So there's an area for improvement, and I think communication could help very much help that. We had some other stats here that were very positive that say 72% say their kids enjoyed the summer camp. 67% said they created a relationship with a caring adult. 83% said that the Los Banos community needs a program like Boys and Girls Club. 83% would enroll their children in a year-round club. And then we had 61% parents say their kids had fun and developed. And then 83% the kids, they said they had felt safe at all times. And that's one that stuck out to me. 72% felt that they had a sense of belonging. And here are some testimonies from the parents. And one is, Los Banos is in desperate need of a program like what I think Boys and Girls Club aims to be. Safe, affordable, well-organized, and engaged for children and families. Another one here, my son had a blast at the Los Banos Boys and Girls Club this year. I would love it if they would offer this all year long, including an after-school program. I think that is an excellent idea, especially for children like my son that find it hard to make friends. I would definitely support the Boys and Girls Club if they would make it a year-round thing, and after school, that is something I definitely would enroll my son in. So what's next? So right now we have a goal, and the goal is to have an after-school program. An after-school program would be from 2:30 to 7 p.m. And that program, there's some numbers here for an estimate of $360,000. Now that is comparable to the Merced facility. Now Merced is twice the size of us. So I would say about half of that, and I talked to Mike, and he concluded with the Boys and Girls Club, the National Boys and Girls Club, and it's closer to probably about $250,000 we're thinking. And we've had, donations, generous donations from Sutter Health for $100,000, Doug Archer, our representative there and committee member, who's helped drive that. And we also have another donation of $25,000 from the Chiefs Association, which our chief, Gary Breezy, has driven that, and very appreciate his generosity and his support. And we have also, let's see here. So so the goal would basically be, so that number, if you change that number to 360,000, be $250,000. So our goal would raise another $125,000 for a year-round program. And we are looking at different areas to explore possible locations, working with Joe Heim, the new Parks and Recreation manager there, possibly with the building with the city, also with a possible small church, which Stockton recently did, to plant that seed for the club, for the kids, a place to start, and they were successful in doing that. And so right now we're just looking to find a place to plant the seed to encourage and help the club grow, to help the kids in the community. And that concludes our presentation. I thank everybody for listening, and I thank again the city, our city government that's been very supportive of the Boys and Girls Club, and I thank everybody here for that, and I hope it continues our partnership with the city, and I've been proud to be a part of it and honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
Are there any questions from council members at this time? Mr. Freya.
The Merced Club, how do they have varied sources of funding?
They do. The city pays for their costs for their utilities, for the maintenance of the building, and they have donors that they've procured that they're Merced, but they also have national donors, I think, that help the club also.
Okay, so it looks like we need to go after some donors, huh?
Definitely.
Generate
We
some
have something. I mean, that's a good question. That's something I forgot to mention. We do have a fundraiser we're working on. We don't have the tickets out yet, but Stephanie Consigliere-Deese here, she's been spearheading that and working with Shannon Cook out at the Mission de Oro, and they're donating free use of the facility, 2 different rooms, for us to have a fundraiser out there on February 9th, and it's going to be called For the Love of the Children in Our Community.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. Mr. Lewis.
Yes. The money that you get from the parent club, is there going to be a set amount that they will be willing to fund or donate each year, or does that depend on how much a city and your private donors are able to raise?
I'm sorry, in the beginning you said for which club?
I think, did you say that the parent company would be giving X amount of dollars towards a year-round program?
Oh, that was Sutter Health that made the donation for the 100,000.
Okay.
And
So Los Banos, to have a year-round program, would cost $360,000.
no, that number is actually just a reference point that was made because the first budget that we had was the approximate budget was mirrored towards the Merced facility.
That's what I thought I heard you say.
Right, and we figured, we came to the conclusion that, well, Merced, their population is about 80,000. Here in Los Banos, we're about half that. We're about 40,000. So it wouldn't cost that much for a year for operating costs. So it's pretty high. I mean, it's ideal for the 2 years down the road of reserves, but for the first year operating costs, we're looking at probably about $250,000.
Okay. And there's nothing that the parent company would be offering as far as financial assistance for startup?
Oh, you're talking about the National Boys and Girls
yes.
Club? Well, that would be from different donors. I know Michael here has recently reached out to Ross. They're a national donor. So in conjunction with companies like them that recently came here to our town, they could actually help us get to that goal. We also have reached out to other businesses here that we're working with, and Morning Star, just to name one, and they've all been pretty supportive. And and I think the most important thing for us too is to make sure that people know. There's still a lot of people that don't know the Boys and Girls Club was even here last summer. So we want to try to make sure that we promote it more and get it out there that they're here to help the kids.
And that the fundraiser date that you were speaking of is February?
That's February 9th. Okay. Yeah, and it's going to be called For the Love of the Kids in Our Community. And We have actually I just found out the food was also donated by the mission with Shannon, working with Shannon Cook out there, who's a manager. And they also donated for use of 2 rooms. And so we're getting auction items together, and then we're gonna get some tickets together here we have a next steering committee meeting. So I think we're gonna finalize for the fundraiser on that date, which will be on the 15th.
All right, thank you very much.
No problem, sure.
Okay, Mrs. Santos?
Thank you. Brief question.
Sure.
I know that you said about 36 on average, and if I recall correctly, the original projection was about 80. And I think you kind of answered it a bit about saying that we should have a little bit more communication going out for next year.
Yeah, definitely.
But did you notice more of an influx of children coming in towards the end of summer because they were starting to hear about
Well,
it? Or-
I noticed it started out, there was about 30, 35 kids per day, and then it went up to 40 the next month. The last month, a lot of people, their parents were traveling, but there was also, I think there was, the parents were traveling a lot, so that kind of dropped the numbers also. And at that point, because of the amount of kids we were doing, is we were taking kids to the Merced facility for some of the different activities.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh, no problem, sure.
Mr. Freya, you have another question?
No, just comment, you can let Shannon know, get in touch with me if she needs anything.
Oh, yes, sir, I appreciate
Very
that.
pleased to see that another choir alumna is
Oh, it's another,
contributing,
yeah, that's great.
contributing to
That's
to the community.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
great.
Thank you,
sir.
Mayor.
You know, Chuck, I just want to tell you, being part of the organizing committee, and Alex and I been in on this since the beginning. And I have to tell you that those smiling faces of all those kids this summer, it was a lot of fun. It was a real joy to see them.
Amen.
They had a great time, and students were able to have meals every day and go on field trips and things that they normally wouldn't do during the summer. So the Boys and Girls Club is a needed asset, and it's just that number gets scary when it gets up to $360,000.
Yeah, and I hope that doesn't scare
Yeah.
anybody off. I understand that. I want to try to make a clarification. We are trying to get, we are working on a budget that's more turnkey, that's more realistic to what our town needs and the size of our town. So definitely we're working on that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the kind
Yeah,
words. sir.
and we just need to stay in close touch with the hospital, because $100,000 was a big donation.
Definitely,
Huge,
definitely.
huge.
Yeah.
And I just heard tonight for the first time, the Chiefs Association for 25,000?
25,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Wow.
thank you, Gary,
Thank you,
for
Chief.
that. Gary
Yeah.
really, helped us out there, and,
Wow.
as well as he's a member of our steering committee. And so, yeah, I think that the town's been overwhelmingly supportive of this, and I really appreciate
So maybe
that.
it's not a scary number. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I don't know how much time I have left, but 15 seconds. Okay.
No, this is different.
Okay,
different
that's
form.
It's on the agenda, so.
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
on the
time limit.
agenda.
I said one of the things I wanted to say was
Yeah.
I wanted to give Michael Pierrick here an opportunity to speak as our director here, or if anyone had any questions for him, because Michael, thank you, sir.
Michael Pierrick, resident of Merced, actually, but I'm the county director for the Boys and Girls Club. First off, thank you for the opportunity this summer. It was a fun and learning experience, I think, for us all and for the club. We're very optimistic and happy to move forward with this process and building the relationship and building the opportunities for the youth of Los Banos. I also want to add with the square footage of Merced's club, it's about 17,000 square feet. And so looking at a facility that's more feasible, that's a lot smaller, we'll adjust that based off of where certain areas of the club are at and which staff have to be there and how often. And so obviously there will be costs that will be deducted from that. And then also to add on, we have to reach, under policy of the Boys and Girls Club of America, we have to meet 3 years of that financial reserves total. So the first year operating cost times 2 more years to ensure sustainability of the club when we open.
Thank you so much for the presentation this evening. Any further questions, Council? Any comments? Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go back to, are they going to do it for me?
We've got Trish, oh, there we go.
There we go. All right. Okay, let's go on to item 9, public hearing. If you challenge the proposed action as described herein in court, You may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing described herein or in written correspondence delivered to the city at or prior to the public hearing. Item 9A, public hearing. To receive public comment and consideration of adopting an ordinance to amend and reorganize Article 20, Chapter 3, Title 9 of the Los Banos Municipal Code relating to off-street parking, and amend and reorganize Article 32, Chapter 3 of Title 9 of the Los Banos Municipal Code relating to recreational vehicles. Number 1, ordinance number 1165, amending and reorganizing Chapter 20, Title 3, Article 20, Chapter 3, Title 9 of the Los Banos Municipal Code relating to off-street parking, amending and reorganizing Article 32, Chapter 3, Title 9 of the Los Banos Municipal Code relating to recreational vehicles. And we are going to go to Community and Economic Development Director, Elms. You're on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I have a PowerPoint presentation
All right.
for this item.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so to give a little bit of background on this particular item, this was first introduced to the City Council on October 17th, 2018, where staff introduced the ordinance. We went through each of the changes. So there's a revision and that we're reorganizing. That's one component of this proposed ordinance. We're reorganizing the code as it relates to parking of vehicles and parking of recreational vehicles as well. They're in various different sections as previously explained. And so we're reorganizing that into one section of the code, into the zoning code. And then we went through the various proposed changes as it relates to hardscape coverage and parking in the front yard and rear yard, as well as the side yards. And we did receive some concerns from the City Council about the number of vehicles allowed in the rear yard, the height of vehicles in the rear yard, and the setback requirements to side and rear yard parking. So staff reviewed those concerns and has made changes to the proposed draft ordinance. So the proposed changes first consist of prohibiting the parking of semi-truck or tractor in any residential front, side, or back yards. This also limits semi-truck or tractor trailers in any residential front, side, or backyards. And this developed with the city attorney, discussion between he and I, and that we wanted to ensure that as we're preserving the neighborhoods and regulating hardscape coverage and the appropriate places that residents can park or use their driveway, we wanted to ensure that semi-trucks or hard equipment like tractors weren't being parked in the residential neighborhoods. Also, it limits the number of vehicles allowed in the backyard to 3. That is consistent with what is already within the ordinance. But based on discussion, we limited the max height of one vehicle to 12.5 feet, so 12 feet 6 inches. And then all other vehicles, so that would be the 2 other vehicles, would not be allowed to exceed the height of the fence line. So you could still have an RV in the rear yard. It does need to meet the requirements of the setbacks. And then you could have 2 smaller vehicles, so whether it's a motorcycle and a jet ski or some other sort of combination, but it would need to be below the fence line. And it would need to be.
And that was the consensus of the council last night?
Yes, it was.
For an addition. Okay.
Yes, that was. And they would also need to be parked on an approved surface. So then other proposed changes that are highlighted for you in your staff report are the RV setbacks for rear yards was set at 5 feet from the rear property line. And then RV setbacks for the side yard was set at 3 feet from the side yard property line. Currently it is 5 feet. And when this proposed ordinance was brought before the Planning Commission, they recommended a 3-foot setback. And so that was based on that recommendation from the Planning Commission. And then the RV setback for front yards to be at 5 feet from any front or side yard property line. So that would be with anything within that 20-foot setback would have to have a 5-foot setback from the front and side property lines. So I have an exhibit here just to illustrate. So that green area is where essentially an RV, so that previous slide I had explained that RVs in the front yard are limited to a 5-foot setback from the front and side yard property lines. So that area in green is where you would be able to park your recreational vehicle. It has to be on an approved driveway surface, and it needs to maintain a 5-foot setback from the side property line. And it has to have an approved driveway approach. This next slide, I wanted to illustrate what is in red is where it would be prohibited for an RV to park, essentially. So that 5-foot setback on the bottom left-hand side of the screen is that 5-foot setback where we're prohibiting RV parking. Where the big X is, if there's no driveway with this proposed ordinance, you would not be able to park your vehicle or recreational vehicle on that side yard without an approved approach. So that's what that big X means. And then on the rear yard, if you're so lucky to have a corner lot and you have access from a side street, you could possibly, where that red circle is on the top right hand of the screen next to the green arrow, could possibly obtain an encroachment permit for a driveway. But those red areas, based on this criteria of this proposed ordinance, is where you would not be permitted to park a recreational vehicle, or any vehicle for that matter. You would need to meet those setback requirements. So that means 3 feet from any ingress or egress from the home. So that 3 feet is, I tried to scale it as best as I could. And then the 5 feet is what is at the very top of the screen, just to give you perspective of where you would be able and could not park. So I hope that's clear. And then again, the green area is where you can definitely park. So with that, staff is recommending that the City Council open the public hearing, receive public comment, waive the first reading, and introduce ordinance number 1165 by title. Now, I did go through that very quickly, but if you have any additional questions on any other literature within the ordinance, please feel free to ask.
Okay. Mr. Freed, do you want to speak now, or you want me to open a public hearing first? Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, okay. No problem. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes, I would like to speak on, of the report by staff on page 2, number 4. I believe that was a request that I made at the last meeting to stand with the original 5 feet that the ordinance had set forth rather than the 3 feet. So if we move forward with this tonight, I'd like to make the recommendation that we change that back to 5 feet from 3 feet. And with that, if you can tell me, Stacy, within the proposed ordinance, where does that fit? I'm looking at page 6 of the proposed ordinance, number 2024-2. Does that fit somewhere in there where you have a 3-foot setback from the building?
Yes.
So that would be actually changed back to 5?
Yes, it would.
Okay. And then I had also a question on the fencing height where it says 6 feet. And I know that our current ordinance says 7 feet, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And with that, do we have to name a foot height, or should we say between 6 and 7 feet, or could we just say according to whatever the current city ordinance would be?
Well, the minimum would be a 6-foot height fence.
Okay.
But it could exceed that 6-foot height. The fence can exceed that 6-foot height fence based on the building code.
Right.
And that's currently what our ordinance says.
Well, the only reason I ask, because when I read it, it looks definitive to me that it could only be 6 feet. So, if somebody puts up a new fence, then, obviously they have to get a permit from the city to do so, but I just wanted to make sure that that was clear to the public. Okay, and,
Mrs. Lewis, may I ask a clarification question?
Yes.
So 5 feet, and that would be 5 feet from the back of the house too, wouldn't it?
It'd be 3
I think
feet
accord-
from the home.
Uh,
It'd be 3 feet from the residence.
3 feet
Based
from-
on the ordinance.
Okay, all right. But we're talking about 3 or 5, and if, that would include like the back, because I think that the last conversation we talked about that if someone had to get out of a window, 3 feet wasn't really adequate with a vehicle away from the structure itself. And
well,
is that what we were talking
in the
about?
ordinance that I'm reading, it says, under number 4, it says a 3-foot setback abutting the side yard. So I don't know if you're talking about the rear fence or if you're talking about on the side of the house. But in my opinion, regardless, for the safety of our emergency staff, whether it's police or fire, or, a resident trying to squeeze through 3 feet, it seems to be more than a notion.
That was the concern last time.
That was my concern.
Yeah, and
yes.
that was the concern, I think, of the council, that 3 feet wasn't enough for public safety work or fire safety and police safety to get someone out or to someone to get in between. So,
Well, that's why I'm recommending that it be changed
All
back
right.
to 5, because when they're working with their equipment, they've got
Yeah.
their full gear on and dragging hoses, ladders, whatever, 3 feet is not a lot of space.
not a lot of space. Okay, Mr. Freer, you were next?
Oh, yeah, when I was looking at this, I walked around my yard a little bit to see what 3 foot, that's the old term for 3 feet, right? That's a yard, from there to there. And I said, it's a little, I'm thinking, well, I can walk through there, but I can't get much through there except maybe my garbage can. Emergency services would be a problem. I'd like to see 5 feet everywhere.
Yeah.
It's my 4 cents.
Thank
Or
you.
5 feet.
Or 5 cents, okay. Mrs. Santos?
Thank you very much, and I definitely hear the concerns of everyone, which is a valid concern. But if I'm not mistaken, Mason, Ms. Captain Hurley, at our last meeting, did you not state that 3 feet would be better, is just okay with you guys if you need to come through for services?
3 feet access is a common space for access and egress. So the 3 foot isn't a huge issue for us. We go through smaller spaces and move equipment in smaller spaces. The issue is that area maintained clear, so we have access. My concern would be, additional equipment being parked next to the bicycles, lawnmowers, different things parked in that area, and then your access is blocked. And we deal with that with all exits and egress anyway. So the 3 foot isn't necessarily a problem because that's a common width. So it's when you asked the question last month, if you asked which one is better for maintaining, sure, the wider it gives us more space, but that just gives more space for things to be parked in that area as well. So it's not necessarily that big of a deal in regards for us to go in and out as long as the area is kept clear.
Thank you, Mason. As for me, I would like to keep it at the 3 foot space that was originally decided to, but of course it's at the discretion of the council, majority of the council to do so. But I am okay with the 3 foot side and 5 foot in the back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions for now? Can I open up the public hearing? All right, at this time, I would like to open up the public hearing on ordinance number 1165. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the public hearing, bring it back to council level. And any more, Mrs. Lewis? Sorry.
No further comments.
Okay, all right.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1165.
We're waiving the first reading.
We're going to waive the first
Oh, we're
reading.
gonna-
And
Yeah.
then we're going to introduce.
Okay.
Because we had to bring it back from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
following month, yeah.
Any changes you want to make to the text, we need to do those.
All right.
before
And
we
those.
introduce.
Thank
Okay.
you. Then I'll make a recommendation on ordinance number 1165 that we waive the first reading, and is it on the adoption that I make the recommendation for the changes? Is that what you're saying?
I think we should. You should make the stated changes and then waive the first reading with those changes, and then introduce with those changes. And as I understand, is my microphone on?
Yes.
As I understand, you're looking at section 9-3.2024 B2.
That's correct.
1, 2, 3, 4, line 5, where it says no closer than 3 feet to any abutting side yard. You want to change that to say no closer than 5 feet to any abutting side yard. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so with that change, you would make a motion to waive the first reading and then make a second motion to introduce the ordinance by title.
But what I heard you say is that when I waive the first reading, that I also indicate what the change is going to be.
Correct.
And then when I introduce it, to also indicate what the change will be.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'll restate that. I'd like to waive the first reading of ordinance number 1165 as read by title, with a change under section number 9-3-2042. 24, thank you. Number 2?
B2.
B2.
Line.
That looks like a E. but
Line
it's a B.
5 from 3 feet to 5 feet.
Line 5 from 3 feet to 5 feet.
Perfect.
Mr. Faria.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. It's been motioned by Lewis for the waiving of the first reading with the changes stated to ordinance number 1165 and motioned by Faria.
No, second by.
Oh, excuse me, second by Faria. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? No. One no, motion carried. Mrs. Lewis.
Yes, I'd like to introduce ordinance number 1165 as read by title with the change of section 9-3.2024 B2, line 3.
Line 5.
Line 5? Oh, it's line 2 and actually a 9, but line 5 from 3 feet to 5 feet.
Okay, Mr. Faria.
Second.
Motion by Lewis, second by Faria, for the introduction of ordinance number 1165 with stated changes by Mrs. Lewis. And we'll go to a roll call vote. Director Maloney?
Faria,
Yes.
Johnson Santos. No. Lewis.
Yes.
Silvera, Belalto.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, let's go on to item B, public hearing. And let's see, let's go back to council feed. There we go. All right, let's go on to item B, public hearing. To receive public comment and consideration of the categorical exemption from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to section 15322, infill development projects and conditional use permit number 2018-10 for an ABC Type 20 off-sale beer and wine license for the proposed convenience store within the proposed shopping center located at the southeast corner of Mercy Springs Road and Overland Avenue, APN 424-120-017. And then item B1, City Council Resolution number 6020, approving conditional use permit 2018-10 to allow for the for the sale of alcohol under the Type 20 off-sale beer and wine license for a 7-Eleven located in the southeast corner of Mercy Springs Road and Overland Avenue, APN 424-120-017. We're going to go Community and Economic Development Director Elms.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. And so we have a PowerPoint presentation with this item as well.
Okay?
All right.
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah. So
I didn't even touch it.
Perfect.
All right.
So starting off with this item, this particular proposal request is to allow the off-sale of beer and wine for off-site consumption, subject to a type 20 alcohol license. This is for a new 7-Eleven convenience store and fuel station. This site plan was approved by the Planning Commission on October 10th, 2018. The site plan itself is not under discretion of the City Council tonight. City Council's task tonight is just the conditional use permit. But just to give some background on the project that the Planning Commission approved, they did approve 1.37 acres specifically for this particular parcel for the development of a 7-Eleven. The convenience store would consist of a little over 3,000 square feet building with a 12-pump fuel station. This particular project also consisted of 2 other buildings, one with a drive-through for a designated Starbucks has been identified as a tenant at that location, as well as a larger retail building that could accommodate 1 user or possibly 3 users, also with a drive-through. Mr. Jim Halferty is here tonight with us, president of Halferty Development. And at the end of the presentation, we can ask him if he has a proposed tenant for that building, possibly. Maybe he can share that with us. The proposed location is the southeast corner of Overland and Mercy Springs Road. It's highlighted for you in red, and the arrow indicates the project site. This particular map, I apologize, the PowerPoint doesn't like the animation of the screen, so I'm going to go to the next slide. But what that was showing the site layout and how the site plan laid on the particular parcel. So that very southeast corner, and I can just run, it will not behave, so and I won't put us through this blinking. But that very top hard corner is where the fuel station, and if you had the ability to see that it was highlighted in yellow, the building was highlighted in red, so that's only one component of a 3-building project. 3 structures are proposed on that particular project. So according to CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act, this project was deemed to be categorically exempt per Article 19, Section 15332, in that it is an infill development project. It's less than 5 acres. Our municipal code requires general criteria for any conditional use permit. It has to be consistent with our general plan and zoning code. It cannot be a nuisance or detrimental to the public health, safety, and welfare. It's compatible with adjacent uses and properties and neighborhoods. And then it has specific criteria. There's 4 specific findings that need to be made for conditional use permits that consist of alcohol. And to summarize, there's a finding that they will not contribute to an undue proliferation of such uses in the area. They will not adversely affect adjacent nearby churches, temples, synagogues, public, parochial, or private elementary, junior high, or high schools, public parks or recreation centers, or public or parochial playgrounds, which there's no such type uses in the immediate vicinity of this particular project. That the proposed use will not interfere with the movement of people, and that where the proposed use is in close proximity to residential uses, it would be limited in its hours of operation, which this particular use is not in the immediate vicinity of any residential uses at this time. So this particular project is included in Census Tract 23.02. 23.02, so the city of Los Banos is divided into 4 census tracts. Mercy Springs is the demarcation, separates east and west. So east of Mercy Springs is Census Tract 23.02, which has a large part of the community. Currently, there are 6 off-sale licenses within that particular census tract, and ABC permits 11. So there is not an over-concentration in this particular census tract. This is just a peek of what the Planning Commission approved back in October for this particular site. This is for 7-Eleven. This is just a sneak peek of what those elevations would look like, which this is an agrarian style, which meets our design guidelines. Planning Commission reviewed this particular item on October 10th, 2018. I recommended approval of conditional use permit 2018-10 to the Los Banos City Council. We did receive one public comment on that night of October 10th from the business owner of Mi Barrio, which is adjacent, it's catty corner from this particular project site, Mr. Jay Verk. He had a representative there that night that stated that there was no consideration of crime report in the area and that he was concerned about the increase of traffic due to this project. Traffic study was conducted, which did not require any mitigation due to traffic in the area specific to this project. And I have spoken to the chief specifically about the project site and the use of alcohol at this area, and there's no adverse concern of crime in the area. So public comment, a public hearing notice was published in the Los Banos Enterprise and mailed to the 300-foot radius on October 26, 2018. And as of today's date, no written comments have been received. So with that, staff is recommending that the City Council adopt resolution number 6020, approving conditional use permit number 2018-10 for the sale of alcohol under a Type 20 off-sale beer and wine license for 7-Eleven located at the southeast corner of Mercy Springs Road and Overland Avenue. And that concludes my presentation. And Mr. Jim Halferty is here as well to answer any questions.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you my question. It's always the same one. Every time I sound like a broken record. And Chief, you'll get to approve the camera system that's put in?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a condition of approval that requires a 30-day recording of feed, and that it's to the discretion, the location of those cameras is to the discretion of the police chief.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that comment. Council members, do you have any questions of the applicant? Would you like to speak to him right now or anything? I think we're going to have a public hearing, so I'll open that if you want me to first, and then we can talk. Is that okay? All right. So at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing on City Council Resolution number 6020. Is there anyone who wishes to speak?
Honorable Mayor.
Hang on.
Council.
There you go.
I'm Jim Halferty with Halferty Development Company. We are part of the inevitable growth that is taking place in Los Banos. We're acquiring, in the process of acquiring 3 acres from Jerry Bearden out of his 10 acres at that corner. And we will be providing 3 different retail users, one on the corner, which is 7-Eleven, one in the middle, which is a drive-through with Starbucks, and then the third, I'm sorry, you're a tease, but I can't reveal it yet. The deal's not locked down, but we are in negotiations.
Well, whisper to us.
You should, yeah, no. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have. It's an honor to be able to do business in this community.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Council members, was there anyone else who wishes to speak at the public forum? Or hearing? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I'll now close the public hearing and bring it back to council level. And council members, are there any questions that you'd like to ask? Mrs. Lewis?
Yes, no questions. I just wanted to make a comment because I've heard from residents in Los Banos that they're glad to see more retail coming to the north side of town so that they're not having to drive down into the Pacheco area or further away. So more convenient shopping for the residents, and that's a good thing.
Okay, thank you. So with that intro, do you want to make a motion?
Sure. Let me find my place here on the agenda. Yes, with that, I'd like to, let's see. Make a motion to introduce, is this resolution?
No. is to approve City Council Resolution number 6020.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 6020 as read by title.
Okay. Do I have a second? Mr. Faria?
I will second that and echo Ms. Lewis's comments about retail in the north end of town. What I hear a lot about the appreciation that people have, Dollar General, they can shop for groceries without having to cross the highway. So, yeah, second.
Okay. So we have a motion by Lewis, second by Faria, for the approval of City Council Resolution number 6020. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Thank you. Mrs. Santos, do you have a comment?
No, I was
Okay.
just gonna.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, item C, public hearing. To receive public comment and consideration of revision of conditional use permit 2016-01 to allow the expansion and use of type 23 alcohol license for a small beer manufacturer on-site tasting room to the expanded floor area of the building. Paraiso Brewery, located at 80 West G Street, Suite C and D, APN 081-190-008 and 081-190-009. Item C1, City Council Resolution number 6021, approving a revision of a conditional use permit 2016-01 to allow for the expansion of the sale of alcohol under a Type 23 small beer manufacturer for Paraiso Brewery located at 80 West G Street, APN 081-190-008 and 081-190-009. And we're going to go to Director Elms again.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. So I also have a PowerPoint presentation.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Great. Okay, so this particular item is a revision to an existing conditional use permit. Paraiso Brewery is in operation, and this is an exciting testament to their expanding operations in our community. So the conditional use permit process is required for a revision to any conditional use permit. It's a condition of their approval. And this was with their Type 23 alcohol license for a small beer manufacturer with an on-site tasting room. And this is due to Paraiso Brewery acquiring Suite D, which is east of their existing Suite C. The location is 80 West G Street, Suites C and D. It's highlighted for you in yellow. This is the Hacienda Business Park, which brewery, so a small beer manufacturer, is a use by right in the industrial zoning district, which this is located in. However, the tasting room is what requires a conditional use permit and the off sale and on sale of alcohol. So the use permit analysis, I will not go through all of those findings that I went through with the last with this last presentation. So with that, I'm just going to say it does meet all the requirements of our general plan and the criteria within our municipal code. And ABC is the issuing authority in this particular license. This is an exhibit of their floor plan. So it is just a double in size. It's about 2,000 square feet, and the addition is highlighted for you in blue. The new seating area, this is just a picture. There's more pictures located within your staff report of the seating area, which is the suite next door. And this was due to an expansion of the kitchen, and it's to accommodate more seating, was why they moved into Suite D. So public comment, public hearing notice was published in the Las Banos Enterprise and mailed to the 300-foot radius on October 26, 2018. And as of today's date, no comments have been received. So with that, staff is recommending adoption of resolution number 6021, approving a revision to conditional use permit number 2016-01 for an expansion of the use of a Type 23 alcohol license for a small beer manufacturer on-site tasting room to the expanded floor area of the building for Paraiso Brewery located at 80 West G Street, Suites C and D. And with that concludes my presentation, and Mr. Hector Garibay, a representative of Paraiso Brewery, is here to answer any questions.
Okay, so do you want me to open up the public hearing first, or do you have any questions at this time, council? Okay, so at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing on City Council Resolution number 6021. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on that item?
Good evening. My name is Hector Garibay. I'm one of the owners of Paraiso Brewery. So we added a small kitchen to our facility. The kitchen took up half of our seating that we originally had. So it kind of forced us into this expansion, if you will, to recover the seating that we lost with the kitchen. So we're hoping that you approve this resolution so we can make benefit of the facility next to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Garibay at this time? Okay. Well, I will tell you that you've invested a lot of money in that facility, and you've done quite a job making a go of it. And so we thank you. It's a nice place for young people to hang out, and you've made it a nice, safe area. So thank you. Okay. With that, if there are no other comments, do I have a motion? Oh, we did that. Did we? Yeah. Is there anyone else who wants to speak? Okay. That's okay. We'll now close the public hearing and bring it back to council level. All right. Let's go on to 6021. Do I have a motion? Anyone wishes to make one? Mrs. Santos.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 6021.
Okay. As read by title.
As read by
Okay.
title.
All right. Mr. Freya.
I'd like to second that and remind the mayor that it's also a good place for not so young people. Such as myself. It's very, very nice. We would enjoy going there very much. Nice to see the expansion. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, Mr. Faria's comment that that senior citizens can also attend.
That's you.
All in favor? Aye. Oh, no, sorry. It's been motioned by, let's go back to this again. It's been motioned by Mrs. Santos and second by Mr. Freya for the approval of City Council Resolution 6021. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None. Carried. Thank you. Try their pizza too. Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay, let's go on to item D, public hearing. To receive public comment, consideration of conditional use permit of a categorical exemption to the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to section 15301, existing facilities to allow the use of a type 41 alcohol license for the on-sale of beer and wine in conjunction with a bona fide eating establishment, Round Table Pizza, located at 1462 Mercy Springs Road, APN 083-130-038. City Council Resolution number 6022, approving a conditional use permit 2018-12 for the use of a type 41 alcohol license for the on-sale of beer and wine in conjunction with an eating place for Round Table Pizza located at 1462 Mercy Springs Road, APN 083-130-038. And we're going to go to Community and Economic Development Director Elms.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. This is my last presentation tonight, but I do have another PowerPoint.
Okay? There you go.
All right. So the proposal before you tonight is a request for a conditional use permit for a type 41 beer and wine license. It is regulated by the state of California, ABC, and which is the Alcohol Beverage Control. Their proposed operations is Sunday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. This is for Round Table Pizza. They are proposed to be located at 1462 South Mercy Springs Road. It's highlighted for you in yellow. This is in the new Save Mart Shopping Center. This particular location was once the home of Hollywood Video for many, many years. It's been vacant for also many years. And we are excited to welcome back Round Table to our community again. This use permit analysis, once again, I'm not going to go through all of the various findings, but they are within your staff report, as well as the evidence that supports those findings. So it does meet our general use permit criteria and specific findings, and the on-sale criteria, and ABC is the issuing authority. So this particular location is located in Census Tract 23.02, as I said. So any project site that is east of Mercy Springs Road is located within this census tract. And because this is in conjunction with a bona fide eating place, it does not have a concentration requirement, the same as off-site sales require. The floor plan and security plan is located here. The cameras are highlighted in blue, and the proposed bar and wine area where the alcohol will be served is highlighted in green. This is a picture of the front elevations as the tenant is working diligently to improve the location ready for customers and for dining. Public comment, public hearing notices were published in the Las Vegas Enterprise and mailed to the 300-foot radius on October 26, 2018. And as of today's date, no comments have been received. So with that, staff is recommending adoption of resolution number 6022, approving conditional use permit number 2018-12 for the use of a type 41 alcohol license for the on-sale of beer and wine in conjunction with an eating place for Round Table Pizza. And that concludes my presentation. Okay. And I do not see a representative here from Round Table.
All right. Let's go back here. And at this time, council, do you have any questions? All right, I'll open up the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on City Council Resolution number 6022? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the public hearing, bring it back to council level. And Mr. Faria?
I have,
Let's go again here. Hang on. There you go.
I have one question, and then I'd like to make the motion if there's no discussion, but the question is not so much the alcohol license. I'm very pleased to see this happening over there. Have we got any word on, we had talked about the easement from Pacheco Boulevard going into that parking lot as we're adding more businesses there. Have we gotten any word on how that's proceeding?
It has turned into a private easement now between the Union Pacific Railroad and the property owner of the Safe Mart Shopping Center. The city, we're still trying to help facilitate in any way that we can. I do know that in my previous discussions with the property owner, Netco Investments, Mr. Ray Byatt was trying to secure Ross as a junior anchor, and then would be pursuing, because there's a financial investment in that private easement.
I see.
And so
You gotta
I
find,
think
it's always about the money.
it is. And so I think he's cleared that hurdle, and he's working with the Union Pacific and securing that.
That is continuing to proceed
Yes.
and to progress and moving forward on that.
Yes, it is.
Outstanding. Love to hear that. If the chair is willing to entertain a motion, I'd go ahead and make that motion.
Go ahead.
I'll move to approve City Council Resolution number 6022 as read by title.
Okay, Mrs. Santos.
Thank you. Second.
Okay, it's been motioned by Faria, second by Santos for the approval of City Council Resolution number 6022. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? None carried. All right. Let's go on to item 10, consideration of entering into agreements related to groundwater sustainability. City Council Resolution number 6023. Acting as the City of Los Banos Groundwater Sustainability Agency, GSA, authorizing the city manager to enter into a Delta Mendota Subbasin coordination among the groundwater sustainability agencies, GSAs, within the Delta Mendota Subbasin, B, and the cost-sharing agreement among the GSAs of the Delta Mendota Subbasin, and C, memorandum of understanding between the City of Los Banos, GSA, and the San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors, GSA. And we're going to go to Director Fachin for an explanation here.
do have a PowerPoint tonight, and I am going to take you on a different direction. Not an alcohol permit, this is drinking water.
Okay.
So we're going a little different direction.
All right. Okay, go for it.
As you know, we're going to, our recommendation is to council to approve the city council, the resolution number 6023 to enter into these two agreements. One's with the Delta Mendota Subbasin Coordination Agreement. The second is a cost-sharing agreement associated with that first agreement. And the last one is a memorandum of understanding between the City of Los Banos GSA and the San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors. We are doing this, the City Council would be doing this and acting as the Los Banos GSA as has been formed in the past. So what I'll be doing with this, the PowerPoint's a little different than the staff report. I'm going to go over kind of where we're at with with this plan, and at the end, the recommendation will come up at the end. The SGMA overview, we did this in the past, but this is the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act of 2014 mandated California's groundwater resources be dealt with at the local agency level. This act required the formation of GSAs, groundwater sustainability agencies, where the state had a high and medium priority groundwater basin. We happen to be in the Delta Mendota sub-basin, and it is a high priority basin. That's why we have to do the GSA and the GSP. The GSA's major responsibility is to develop a groundwater sustainability plan that meets the sustainability goals of the basin without causing undesirable effects. And there's a whole listing of the undesirable effects on the next slide. Well, sorry, it's the one after this. We're looking at the sustainable yield, what we can get out of the ground and withdraw annually without causing an undesirable effect to the groundwater. And there's actually, by this act, it's actually defined. Undesirable results are chronic lowering of groundwater levels and depletion of supplies. That's just taking it down to where you're not sustainable anymore for your basin, no matter what you're using, whether it's a city or whether it's the irrigation districts. The second one is significant and unreasonable reduction of groundwater storage. The goal is to get to a point where that groundwater storage at the end of the wet year equals the same as it was at the beginning of the wet year. And so, and that's why when you're in a high priority sub-basin, that's a worry because we haven't been hitting that in this basin. The third one doesn't pertain to us, but it's a significant and unreasonable seawater intrusion is not an issue that we have. Fourth is the degrading in water quality, and by pumping out the groundwater, are we degrading water quality? That's the main issue there. They do not want that to happen. And land subsidence, which is a very big issue in this area of the world. We do have some land subsidence of up to a foot a year in outlying areas around the city of Los Banos. If you go over some of the canals, you'll see the concrete foundations are now quite a bit above the canals. We do not have that issue in Los Banos at this moment. And what causes that issue, it's interesting, is it's the clay. We have a clay layer about 200 to 300 feet below our groundwater. We have some above groundwater and below groundwater. And clay works like, as you know, with watering your plants. Water does not go into clay. So if you pump below that clay layer and you start pumping water out of that clay layer, you can't recharge below the clay layer. It's a barrier that you can't recharge back into it. So when you start doing deep wells, it doesn't recharge the water like the lower wells, and actually that's where the settling occurs between the cork-rim after you get below the cork-rim layer. And there probably will not be permitted deep wells in our area ever again because of that issue. It's quite an issue. So, and the last one that's an undesirable effect is depletions of interconnected surface water. A lot of the surface water is connected to our groundwater, and how we, if we deplete that surface water, it doesn't have an effect on our groundwater. So that's the sixth concern that they're interested in. If you have any questions, you can anytime ask me, please.
Just one question. So we talked about it one time for city water.
Mm-hmm.
Can we dig a deep well?
No, we would not be issued a deep well permit from the State Water Board.
Uh-huh.
We would not be issued that.
So what is considered a deep well?
Anything below the corkwood clay.
And that is,
Anywhere from 200 to 350 feet.
Okay.
It changes across the basin.
so that basically stops anyone from drilling at 1,000 feet to get,
People that go for permits, yes.
okay.
I didn't mean, as you know, people that go through the right mechanisms, yes, this is true.
Yeah, so does that force the city into surface treated water?
It will in the future, yes. We'll have to have a combination of both, for both quantity and quality. We'll need a combination of both. We still, in our master plan, we still have on the books 7 wells before we would need the surface water. But the surface water will probably be kicked in before that in order to mix for water quality issues.
But according to this, we can never drill a deep well again then, correct?
We only have 1 well now that goes below that Corcoran layer, and it just barely goes below it, and we do not pump from that layer.
Okay.
And ours, we'll be able to, with the right projects, we'll be able to still pump above the Corcoran layer without depleting the groundwater basin. That's what this is all directed towards.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, any other questions? I know, I just wanted to, he said to jump and ask the questions.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
a slide that's
All
probably.
right, geez, the attorney hasn't talked this much in 10 years. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the next slide is a little bit of a timeline. I know, I talked to him today, you talked a little bit. A little bit of a timeline. The act that we're under requires GSAs are formed by June 30th, 2017. And we did form our GSA, we did bring it before you. You did on January 18th, 2017, pass resolution number 5831, which established our submittal of a GSA. Since then, the state has approved it. It was submitted, I think it was like 3 or 4 months after it was submitted, it did get approved. So we did fulfill that requirement. But the next requirement that we have to fulfill is now the GSAs have to, in the critically overdrafted basin, which is our basin, which is one of our basins, there's quite a few in the state, but this is one of our basins that is, we have to have a groundwater sustainability plan by January 31st, 2020. So we have a date in there, but it goes very fast. The Delta Mendota Subbasin Sustainability, which is the basin that we belong to, is required by January 31st, 2040. So whatever these plans come together and whatever they're saying we need for sustainability has to be in place by January 31st, 2040. Now, between 2020 and 2040, it is a living document. Changes can be made depending on how the groundwater basin looks and how our projects are going, okay? And the catch to all this is if the locals don't do this groundwater sustainability, the state has the right through this act to come in and to intervene and to enforce it. The whole issue with this act was to allow local control of this instead of the state coming in, because originally it was recommended the state do it. So the next slide is it gets a little more into the last slide was sort of this review. This is in our Delta Mendota subbasin. We actually have 23 GSAs, and I believe they're listed somewhere in the documentation I give you. It's all the cities formed them. The irrigation districts formed them. So there's 23 in our Delta Mendota subbasin. Now what's required is when you're in a critically overdrafted subbasin, all the GSPs have to agree, have to have the same data, have to have the same endpoints, have to have the same projects. They all have to meet at the same time. It's like the way the teachers used to punish the whole class for one person. This is what this is going to be. If you have one basin that's doing super great and another basin in the Delta Mendota subbasin isn't, you all have to work towards getting the entire subbasin sustainable. That's the law. Now, of these 23 GSAs, they've formed in the different groups, and they're only forming 6 GSPs. They're only forming 6 plans, and we're one of those plans. So.
Yes. Let's see. There you go.
Thank you. Is the water meeting as the last time, but is the communication going pretty well, like amongst the GSPs?
It's going really well right now, and that's what 2 of these agreements are basically. 2 of these agreements deal with us dealing with the whole Delta Basin, all 6 GSPs and all 23 GSAs. The last agreement, memorandum of understanding, is just dealing with our own GSP.
Gotcha.
So yes, they're dealing very well together. They have progressed to about the 3rd step of this.
Thank you.
But no problem.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes, so Mark, I think we recently had a meeting here in Los Banos.
Yes.
In the College Green
Yes.
area with this organization talking about this. And one of the questions that I had, and I'm going to state it again just for the public's education, is that recently the federal government, the president is talking about releasing additional federal waters to the Central Valley here for farming and drinking water. So if that water is released, is that going to be taken into account as to how it's going to be distributed? Since this starts in 2020, I mean, that gives us 2 years, and I don't know whether or not that water has to be counted.
It will be taken into account as far as surface water. We also have surface water issues at the same time as the groundwater. This mainly deals with the groundwater basin. If that water can be taken into account and helps us balance it out by recharging our river, the Los Banos Creek, yes, it will be taken into account, and that's one of our major projects actually. But that is really a surface water issue, which is very important because if we get more surface water, then we're not pumping groundwater. So that should be taken into account. And like I said, this is a living, breathing document. So in 2020, if we have some recharges becoming available consistently, that will be reflected in changes in that document.
All right, thank you.
It's a great question. Next slide is the steps in the GSP development. There's basically, and I list them here in 3, there's 6 steps, and I got this from the workshop that we attended. The first one is gathering data, and we have totally gotten through this. This is just our GSP, but all the 6 GSPs are doing this simultaneous. So it's mandated that we provide all of them with our data so they can get the models working together. So the gathering of the data, it has been done, and it's a continual process, but we're probably 90% through that. Preparing a hydrogeologic conceptual model has been done, and that's basically a model and I'll use the term that was at the workshop. It's a checking account. What you take out of the ground and what you're putting back in the ground, how it's flowing into the ground, and that's very important. And the next one is developing the model, which is what all the GSPs are doing currently. 2 types of models. One's based basically on data collection, and one's empirical, where you spread the data, you spread it over. We're using both. Our particular GSP actually has a lot of data, so we're using mostly data, which is the more accurate model. Then we're going into the preparing of the water budget. So that's the next step we're going into, and that develops sustainability criteria and identify projects and management actions. These agreements that I'm giving you, financially anyway, go through this last step. At this last step, there will be projects. There'll be budgets, there'll be things that we need to do as 6 GSPs and our GSP specifically. And we'll bring that back before the city of Los Banos GSA for their approval. That's about 1 year from now. So we'll bring back the GSP of all 6 agencies for our own GSP. We'll have our own chapter of that. And that's for our GSA to approve that. So it goes on to the next step where the whole GSP is approved and all 6 are approved at one time. So it's a lot of coordination. That's what these agreements are about, is coordination actually. Any questions on that? I know it's a lot of data, sorry. But we're actually getting to what tonight's action item will be. We have 3 agreements for the GSP development to go on. Now, some of this has been processing. We're actually on the 2 first agreements, there's 23 or 24 people that are signing at different agencies. So there'll be a lot of original sheets, because we're not gonna spread them out to 23 people, they'll all be signed by different people. We are the last agency, second to last agency to actually approve this. So we waited a little while, but there is, unless the city of Mendota did it recently, we're the second to the last agency to approve this. So the first one is a subdivision coordination agreement, and I'll go right to that on the next sheet. And what this is just stating is, this is the coordination of the 6 GSPs. And by water code section, a coordination agreement is actually required in a critically overdrafted basin. We have to have it. It ensures that all plans use the same data and methodologies, and it establishes the San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors as a representative for our GSP. So in the 6 GSPs, we have 1 representative from the group of us, and that will be the San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors representative. That's CCID and Grasslands and that group. They will be representing. There's a lot of input between the city and these people before that fact. It's just we're not the representative of this GSP. The plan manager for the entire project is San Luis and Delta Mendota Water Authority. That's for the entire 6 GSP coordination project. That's who the agreement's going in with all the GSAs. They are not a GSA. They are the federally mandated, the state mandated group to lead out for all of us. All 23 GSAs go through this particular body, and that's mainly the coordination agreement is with these 23 GSAs to work on that. The next slide is the cost sharing for that previous agreement. So this is the cost sharing for the coordination of the 6 GSPs. Costs are kept to a minimum per Sigma requirements. The cost to do this coordination effort, it's in the $2.5 to $3 million range. That's just the coordination effort. The cost of our GSP is based on acreage. So what we have is our particular GSP coordination cost for the entire 6 GSPs is estimated to be $100,000. And that's getting everything in place by the January 2020 date. Cities, we have an estimated 2% property by acreage share, and that equates to about $2,000 over the next year. For this particular, it's not a major investment, but it's a really important investment. Now, when I say you can go, well, $2.5 to $3 million divided by 23 doesn't compute. They are getting a lot of grant money that's being upfront in that $2.5 to $3 million. So a lot of grant money is being used to work on this. The final agreement that we're asking you to approve tonight is the memorandum of understanding. Sorry about that. And that's between the City of Las Banos and San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors. Remember, the San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors is our representative on the GSP. So this agreement is just for our own GSP, just the one that we're going to get a chapter of. It has nothing to do with the coordination with the 6. This is just our own personal one. It's one GSP, and it will include our city's GSA boundaries, and we'll have a separate chapter. And if you remember, at the last time we approved this, when we made a GSA, we actually showed the boundary of the city in there. And the whole thing we're looking for is long-term reliability to pump groundwater. We want to continue to pump groundwater within the law that has been passed, and to keep a balance. The cost of this particular work is, and this is just the cost. I didn't put this in the slide. This is just the cost for our chapter. So what they agreed to do on this is to split the cost of just our chapter and our data into 4 entities: City of Las Banos, San Luis Water District, Grasslands Water District, and Exchange Contractors. So it's 25% for each person. Now, what we do have, and you'll see if you see this in the agreement, you might have noticed it. We do have a grant up to $27,500 that will be used for our part of this. It's directly to us, but it's administered through the exchange contractors. And the estimated costs of this entity, of this memorandum of understanding till January 2020, because that's when this agreement's for, is about $55,000. So we're looking at about half will be a grant. Now, I think that if you look at the fiscal impact, this budget year alone, we put in $150,000 in the water master plan account for both of these items. Obvious, when you look at this, we over budgeted for 2020. If together they're going to be, the maximum they would be is like $30,000. So there is money in there. Money has been put aside. This does not end the money part. Once we get the plan in, we have to implement this in 2040. We have to be balanced. So we'll get some projects, and some of these projects are recharging, trading water with some of the grasslands people for some of our water, service water for their water. We're already recharging through Las Banos Creek with CCID and the Army Corps. That's a project that allows us to recharge. We're already conserving quite a bit of water in town. We'll have to go back to conserving water again. We kind of have slipped the last year, but this will definitely bring that back into fruition. But also remember, they're looking at a year that was before the drought. So before we did a lot of conservation, they're looking at balancing based on those years. So we have done really well with since then. The preliminary numbers show that in our GSP, we are a little overdrafted now. So we're taking out more than we're putting in. So we will have to address that with projects. The other members are not. They're balanced, or they're actually positive. So they're looking to us as to help solve this problem because we work together as a group. And so we have to do that. So we're asking you to go forward with these two agreements and the one memorandum of understanding. And knowing in the future we will be presenting the actual GSP chapter will be presented to you. And it will show the project suggested. It will show cost factors for the project. We'll have to use grant opportunities, or we'll have to look into what our ratepayers pay for these improvements because they are drinking water related. But that's all after we get past the January 31st, 2020 date.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions? Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Are you finding that when we bumped up to the 3-a-day watering is really what kind of put us under our limit? I'm sorry, I probably should talk.
No, it's fine. If we were under the mandate, we're not under the mandate to conserve the 20, I think it was 24%, I can't remember exactly, 24%. We're under the recommended to do it, but not mandated. We would not, the 3 days a week, it was we went from 20% savings to some months when we had 0. Yes, that definitely is an issue.
Thank you.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes, I don't have any questions. If no one else has any further questions, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to receive staff report and adopt resolution number 6023 as submitted and read by title.
Okay. Mr. Faria?
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Lewis, second by Faria, to approve City Council Resolution Number 6023, as read by title. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay, item 11, cancellation of regular City Council meeting scheduled for Wednesday, November 21st, 2018, due to the Thanksgiving holiday. Do I have a motion? Mr. Lewis?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a recommendation to cancel the regular meeting of November 21st due to the Thanksgiving holiday.
Do I have a second? Mrs. Santos?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Lewis, second by Johnson Santos to cancel the November 21st, 2018 meeting. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay, let's go on to advisement of public notices, 2 reports. Director Elms?
I actually have 3 reports for you tonight. One is exciting. Well, they're all exciting, but the first one is an entitlement for our new police station. It's a general plan amendment and a zone change and a negative declaration for the development of a new police department facility. This is to be located at 1111 G Street. And we are changing the land use designation. We're proposing to change the land use designation from mixed use to civic institutional, and from the zoning land use designation from mixed use to public facilities. The second item is a cottage food operator. It's at 780 Amelia Court. This particular cottage food operation is for Stephanie Kosayanagi Dees. And cottage food is for the preparation of food and vending from your home, which is under the health code and is permitted in the state of California. And then the last public hearing item is for Sunrise Ranch, vesting tentative tract map number 2017-03. It's to consider a mitigated negative declaration and the vesting map. This is for the subdivision of approximately 43 acres into 197 single-family residential lots. This is an infill project. It's located east of Los Banos Junior High, so it's on Place Road. It's located north of San Luis Street, south of B Street, east of Los Banos Junior High, and west of the existing single-family residential development of Jolyn Manor. That concludes the public hearings. They will be held on Wednesday, November 14th at 7 p.m. here in the council chambers.
Okay, and I get this question every time it comes up. We're not annexing land. This is entitled land, correct?
Yes, this has been an infill project. Well, it is an infill project, but it's been annexed into the city for many, many decades. And it once had a development proposal, just never reached entitlement stage. With the recession, that developer withdrew their application. But they do have an existing mitigation agreement with the school district that just tells you how long they've been working on this project.
Because Mr. Furrier and I get this all the time. You know, why are we building more homes in Los Banos? And we try and explain, and it's over and over and over again, that this property had been annexed years, well, tens of decades ago. And now the time is right to start building again. And it's not something that we can stop. I think they think we have ultimate power to stop the building, and the only reason building can be stopped is some kind of emergency with water, sewer, or whatever. And in this case, that's not the issue. So I want to explain to the public again that they have an agreement with the school district, and even though it may or may not be enough to meet their needs, it's not something a power on earth can stop other than an emergency with our city services. So, Mr. Freed, do you want to add anything to that?
I had a question, and maybe for the attorney, and maybe for when it comes to us or later, but Mrs. Elms said it had not yet reached the entitlement stage. Does that mean that the council still has the authority to deny it?
Mayor, I would suggest we save the council discussion for the public hearing.
Okay.
Okay,
Very good.
all right,
So that question, we might put that into the pipeline there.
okay.
Thanks.
All right,
It doesn't shut off anymore.
at this
One day I'll
time,
get used to that.
I'll open the public hearing. Oh, no, wait a minute.
No.
No, not public hearing. What am I talking about?
That's,
God,
we're about a month ahead of ourselves.
This is an advisement of public notices.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so,
It's been a rough night for you, man.
at this time, this is just a report, and what we'll do is we'll bring this back at a time certain, and we can discuss this further. Okay? All right, anything else? Okay. All right, let's go on to city manager's report, item 13.
Excuse me, Mayor. Nothing much for this evening, Mayor. I'm assuming council members will comment on the election, including Measure H. So I'll defer to council on.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's go on to city council member reports, and tonight we'll start with Mrs. Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And with that, I do want to congratulate the newly elected members to the city council, as well as those who are re-elected to city council for all the hard work. I know campaigning is not easy, and it does take some effort to get out there and do it. So looking forward to continuing to work with those who are re-elected, the mayor and Mr. Faria, and also to the new member who will be sworn in once the votes are certified. And also on the passage of Measure H, that the voters in Los Banos community had enough faith that we're going to use that money for what it's intended to be used for. There were many people who worked diligently in the phone banking, and it all paid off. And I want to thank the voters in Los Banos for having the faith to pass that measure. And I have just one other thing. I've had the privilege to host San Jose State University Choir 2 years ago, and I'm bringing them back again for a community concert on December the 9th at 7 p.m. at New Beginnings Church on the corner of L and West I Street. San Jose State University Choir is nationally renowned. The Corlears portion of the choir travels in Europe every year to present their art to communities in Europe, and it's just been a privilege. I was a part of the first choir that started that, although I didn't travel in Europe because I wasn't a part of the Corlears. But it's an excellent opportunity for the community to enjoy a wonderful Christmas concert. And again, it is free to the community. And also, Mr. Faria's ensemble group is going to be singing with the choir as well. And I know for young people to be able to have an opportunity to sing with a choir of this magnitude is just an overwhelming thing. So I want to thank him for offering his ensemble group to participate into this, and I'm looking forward to it. And there'll be brochures out in the community shortly, and it is, again, a free concert to the community. So I just want to be able to give something back to the city of Los Banos so that everyone can enjoy a concert over the Christmas holidays.
And the date again
Is December the 9th at 7 p.m., and it's going to be at New Beginnings Church on the corner of L and West I Street. That's across the street from DMV. Okay, and that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go on to Mr. Faria.
Thank you, Mayor. And the concert went last year very, very well, and so we're going to add the dimension of the high school singing with them. We'll probably sing a number or two on our own. Very appreciative of Councilmember Lewis there bringing San Jose State Choir to town. We'll talk more about them at the next meeting, but our school board president was a member of that choir, Anthony Pereira, and under its famed director, Charlene Archibek, who was there forever. And there's interesting stories with Dr. Archibek. She was quite the flamboyant conductor. So I look forward to that. Congratulations, Measure H. Andrew Carnegie said, put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket. So the citizens in our town have decided they trust us to watch that basket. And we're going to watch that basket. And we're going to put that to good use. We have a lot of good things going on. We're going to bring up those public safety numbers back, recover them, get close to recovering before the drastic draconian cuts. And we're also going to be doing some public amenities. And that's going to take some time to map those out, plan those out. The citizens are letting us know things that they want, and we're going to have money to provide those things. So I'm very excited about that. Congratulations to everybody who ran in the election. Elections are about conversations. Those of us that win the seats are responsible to fulfill not only our promises, but also the concerns about everyone. They let us know during the elections. And so they haven't certified the election yet, but the way the numbers look out, it looks like the mayor and I have been reelected. My opponent, Mr. Lamas, called me with a gracious congratulations, and he's a very excellent man, excellent citizen. He's a U.S. Marine. We respect him a lot. It was great conversations we had in the election, and we appreciate the fact that he ran, and as well as everyone else, Mr. Jones, Mr. Cates. The race for an empty seat, very interesting and exciting race. And congratulations, looks like Mr. Jones is going to win that once it's certified. And so we look forward to working forward. Tonight's meeting, as you saw, students are here tonight. You saw a very interesting meeting with a lot of different dimensions. And you also got a chance to see a council that didn't agree on everything. And we didn't agree on everything, but it doesn't matter. The vote was taken. We had the conversation. We made the civil decisions, and we move on. And I think it's a great lesson we gave you tonight. And so, as a teacher, I'm very proud of that. So, thanks for coming here tonight. And we're looking forward to the season. Oh my goodness, lots going on. The downtown stuff, and we got Makers Market is going to be on the 1st of December. That's Saturday. And we won't see you again before that, so I want to make sure I get that in. That's at the Arts Center. The Arts Council puts that on. It's beautiful. Choirs sing there. The week after that is the Santa Claus Parade is on the 7th. That's a Friday night, and that's going to be a beautiful event, as always is. And we sing there. Bands all play. Very exciting, very exciting. And then there we have high school concert will be coming, and on the 12th of December, and the junior high Creekside will be on the week after that, the 19th of December. And we'll be seeing a lot of music, and of course, December 9th, the college coming to town. So lots of fun things in Los Banos to do. And congratulations on the Veterans Parade. That was tremendous. And Veterans Day is this weekend. If you can get to the big Veterans Parade in Fresno, get to the services around the area, get up to the Veterans Cemetery in Santa Nella. It's all very, very beautiful and inspirational. Have a great night. And once again, excellent conversations in this election, and I hope everyone was watching so that we learn. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you to all the veterans, the VFW, for the Veterans Parade. It was beautiful, and you could definitely tell the attendance had definitely gotten bigger from the year before. So it was very nice to see and be in it. Congratulations to Mike and Tom. I'm glad to see you guys. We'll be here for whole another season, some more time.
4 and 2.
Thank you. So, congratulations to you guys, truly. And Measure H, to everyone who worked on that, blood, sweat, and tears. Alex, I'm sure you had a lot of headaches during this time, and staff, and thank you. I mean, it's definitely going to help. So, keeping it short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, what can I say? The Veterans Parade is growing every year. It was wonderful, well organized, no glitches, and the vets and the city worked well together to give us a nice event. So I hope it keeps growing every year, and city's going to do what it can on their part to make sure it's a successful event. The downtown parade, it's on the 7th, is that correct?
The parade is the 7th.
Yeah, December 7th. Okay. Please come down. It's become a huge event, and everyone just has a great time, and it's many entries. So if you can, on December 7th, come to the downtown. The elections, it's always interesting. The number of people running and the different opinions that we have, but then once the people have spoken, we all try and come together, and this council in its present form now is a perfect example of people coming together. And I'm just so proud of them for the years I've worked with you, and it's been really enjoyable. And I think we're just going to continue with that. I think we're going to continue. The people who are running were quality individuals, and if the elections hold up, Mr. Jones will be sitting in one of the seats, and also the Mr. Freya, congratulations, and for another successful election, and Mr. Yamas, a wonderful, wonderful man. So we had some good discussion, and hopefully we can continue to move forward on the issues that we're working on with this present council. It's very important for us to come together, because that's how we get things done. The Measure H, that passed by 64+%. And that is astonishing. It's astounding. It's astonishing. It's but you know, I shouldn't even use those words, because of the efforts of the police chiefs, the city manager, city staff to put the time in to help this pass. And so, thank you from the mayor, the city council. Thank you all who helped us pass, because it's going to be a game changer for Los Banos. That's an extra $2.5 million a year that we can pump back into public safety and recreation and other things. The task is now, okay, Measure H passed. What do we do? So we're going to be working on an oversight committee, and we hope people apply to that oversight committee to make sure that we are an open book, and which we will be, and to spend the money according to what we said we would spend the money on. It's very important to us because we want an open book in this area, because we made some promises during this election and the way the ballot measure read. And we want to make sure we adhere to those 100%. So if you're out there, pro and con of Measure H, if you were not for it, apply to the Oversight Committee. If you were for it, apply to the Oversight Committee, and we'll be organizing that. Tonight it was brought up about downtown revitalization. It's called a P-bid. A P-bid is where merchants who own the building or rent from a building and the actual ownership, they pay to improve the downtown. I would ask you to go visit Turlock. Turlock passed a P-bid, and they pay something like 80 cents a square foot each year. And that money goes into a community pot for the beautification of the downtown. So the downtown merchants are working on a P-bid, and it's like 30 or 40 cents a square foot. So what would happen with that money, it would go into a community pot, they'd have their own board, and they'd figure out for the beautification of the downtown, because the downtown needs a facelift. We had a local developer who donated $1 million, but it's not free money, because if you want to improve your building, you have to pay 50%. So if you put awnings that cost $10,000 and the people that are in control of that $1 million, then we'll give you half that money if the money's available and it hasn't been spent for that quarter. So we have people that want to improve the downtown, but then we have people who don't want to improve the downtown and basically want to keep every dollar they ever earned. I can't tell you enough about how the economy improves when you have a nice downtown to go to. But it's all buy-in. And people have to be willing to spruce up their businesses. And some people are not for that. And some people are going to complain if they have to spend an extra 5 cents to improve their building. So I'm here to tell you as a downtown business person, I want to spend that money and I want to continue to improve my building and improve the downtown so everything looks good. And that brings more money in. That means the merchants make more money. The customers want to come downtown and the city gets the benefit of more sales tax. So that's what the P-bid is all about. If you'd like to learn more about it, you can go either to the Chamber of Commerce or come to our City and Economic Development Director, and she can direct you to someone who can talk to you about a P-bid and exactly what it is. But I urge you to go to Turlock and look what they did with their money and how cute their downtown is. So, and the other young lady, the other lady that spoke, Chief Breezy is already in touch with her, and we'll be working with that individual to reach out to help in any way that that the city or he can. So with that, thank you, Mrs. Lewis, for putting on that concert. It's absolutely wonderful event, and I hope you you all attend. And that is on December 9th at 7 p.m. at New Beginnings Church. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into closed session. And conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 of subdivision D, section 54956.9 of the Government Code. 90-day notice of violations and intent to file suit under the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act from the California River Watch, dated September 3rd, 2018. Item B, conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, agency designated representative, City Manager Terrazas, City Attorney Vaughn, City Clerk, Human Resources Director Maloney,
Finance Director Williams, Police Chief Breezy, Legal Counsel Tufo, employee organizations, Los Banos Police Officer Association, LBPOA, and Los Banos Police Dispatchers Community Services Officers Association, LBPD-CSOA. And if there's anything to report, we will do so when we return from closed session. Thank you and have a good evening.